Good afternoon. Hello, hello. So this was the most silent entrance I ever had on a stage. Like nobody, literally nobody was watching me. So I'm going to do it again, and then maybe I get an applause. Who knows? Just see if it happens. See if it happens. No. I'll just do it again. Okay. Okay, you can put the lights a little bit on. I want to see them. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Lucas, and this 1 hour will be in English. So just for the Dutch people, dit gaat in het Engels zijn. Voor sommige mensen te moeilijk, dan mogen nu weggaan. Ik vind het heel mooi dat mensen dus zelf nu zeggen dat ze eigenlijk niet zo slim zijn. Dat vind ik echt lang leven Enschede. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. For the rest of you, welcome. My name is Lucas de Man, and I am a millennial. So yeah, that's what they say, I am a millennial. So officially, if you're born between 1980 and 1999, you're a millennial. That's what they say. So who here is a millennial? Who else here? Almost everybody here, and then some old people in the front. Okay, cool, welcome. Apparently we are millennials. That's what they tell us about. What do you think, if people say that they are millennials, what do you associate with that? What are words that you say, this is typical for millennials? What? Sex? Deaf? Oh, the dab. Oh, yeah. Okay. What else? What? Shh. I don't understand. What? Burning businesses? Oh, growing businesses. Learn what? Ruined businesses. Oh, it's all fucked. That's what you want to say. Oh, wow. Okay. Who's positive over the millennials? When you talk about millennials, who's positive? 5. Who says we're all doomed? People in the back and on the right. Okay. Look, let me tell you this. When I learned that I was a millennial, I was like, okay, what does it mean, right? I don't understand. But what I do know is people in their 20s and 30s, we are the next generation, yeah? We have to do it. And we have 2 possibilities. Or we go with the fear and conservatism of the generation before us, or we try to find new solutions. We try to find new ways, new possibilities, right? There's so many challenges we have. And I'm going to tell you, there we have the most millennials, especially the most highly educated millennials, is there where the biggest change will take place. And they don't live in Europe. We have like, 100 million millennials in the whole of Europe. They don't live in the States, 80 million millennials, They live in Asia. 7 out of 10 millennials lives in Asia. Only in China, Japan, and Korea, you have 450 million millennials. And they had the one-child policy, right? So they held back, So 400, that means that they have more millennials in those 3 countries than we have people in the European Union. But we don't know them. We have no idea. People in their 20s, 30s in East Asia, for example, we have no idea what they are doing. It's like different worlds. We only send our famous singers there to show how different everything is. Did you see that program? Huh? Nobody saw it? Very good. Don't watch it. Don't watch it. He's a famous Dutch singer. What is his name again? Do you know him? Yeah. And he's sent to China and to Japan. He only says, wow, we don't have that. Yeah, of course you don't. But the most important thing is, what is alike? And the problems that we are facing are global. So the solution should also be global. So if we want to work together, we have to know each other. And I had no ideas what people in their 20s, 30s in Asia were doing. So I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take a film crew with me. I'm going to travel in East Asia to 6 different cities in 6 weeks, and I'm going to get to learn my generation there. I wonder to which cities you guys have been. So what did we do there in those East Asian cities? We interviewed a lot of people, like you and me, 20s, 30s. We went to their project. It's amazing what they're doing. And in every city where we went, we had dinners with young people talking about love, sex, life, you know. And for this afternoon, I brought 2 of those dinners with me from Singapore and from Shenzhen. Who here has ever been to Singapore? A few people, okay. You know Singapore, it's very small. It's like the Noordoostpolder of Flevoland. It's the same, exactly the same amount of ground, but then with 6 million people on it. In the 1980s, there was it was like nothing, and then suddenly they have this huge city. It's very rich, it's very cultural divided. You have people from the Philippines, Chinese, Malaysians, Indians, all living together. And I brought for you Shenzhen. Who's ever been to Shenzhen? 3 people. Who ever heard of Shenzhen? Okay. Shenzhen is the max, yeah? And in English you say the max. It's so cool, Shenzhen. It's in 1980 there were 30,000 people living there. It was just villages, right? And then the government decided we have to build this huge city across from Hong Kong. It's just 1 hour from Hong Kong because Hong Kong was still back from the UK, you know. And they were like, we have to have a city that is also free and cool. So they started building in 1980. Now, 39 years later, 15 million people live in that city. The average age is 29 years old. There's only 10% that is older than 65 years old. While in Enschede, what is it? 80% is older than 65, something like that. It's amazing. And the pace and the energy, you know, it's so cool. So in those 2 cities, Singapore and Shenzhen, I had those dinners. And the first question I asked the young people is, okay, what kind of generation are we?
Are we the strawberry generation?
Yes.
We are, right?
Yeah, we are the
I
strawberry.
thought we're the marshmallow.
No, that's the year below us.
From what I can tell, very soft, very spoiled. Everything is handed down to us, whereas our older generation worked.
Baby boomers?
The baby boomers worked their asses off to get a HDB flat, an education, a job whatsoever. And then for us, we're just handed everything.
Strawberry generation is a Chinese language neologism for Taiwanese people born after 1981 who bruise easily like strawberries, meaning they cannot withstand social pressure or work hard like their parents' generation, and refers to people who are insubordinate, spoiled, selfish, arrogant, and sluggish in work.
Are we?
No.
I think people beyond 2000, they might be the strawberry.
But beyond 2000, there's another generation. They have another name term for them.
People tend to be more open from generation to generation. Like our parents, I think they're doing a better job than their parents.
Back then, our parents knew what they wanted to do or they were forced to do. But since we're in an age and time where we feel like we can do anything, but it's so hard when we have so many causes to attend to, so many personal matters to attend to, so many family matters to attend to. It's so difficult to balance out what is more important. Is it the rest of the world? Or do you want to be selfish enough to find out who you want before you can help the world?
I do agree with the fact that we are more evolved than the generation before us because we are hyper aware of these things, but also because we have so much more knowledge and technology that allows us to understand things at a deeper level. So rather than just being sympathy, I think we are capable of feeling empathy. No, because I was having a conversation with my mom about homophobia. Because my parents are quite liberal, they're very open-minded, and she agreed, and she said that your generation have the knowledge, you know? Your generation are the ones that are gonna be the game changers because you're not gonna stand for things, you know? What we used to know, we didn't really challenge much because we didn't know any better. But the thing with our generation, I think, is that we do challenge and that we don't let people get away with bullshit. And I think that's a great thing because we should question the things that we don't know. I don't think we should be shutting up.
Look, I know that you cannot generalize, right? Asia is not one country. It's not like Africa, you know? It's all different countries combined. By the way, that was ironic. No, just to know that, okay, all right? No, just to understand the level of the people here. Okay, so there's not one generation. You're not all the same people, right? So in Asia, it's the same, different people. But if you travel around, like I did, to all these different cities, you do get some insights. Insights that everybody has, right? And for this afternoon, I just want to share 3 insights with you. That's it. That are there, happening there, and happening here as well, with our generation. The first is a little bit different. The first is called generational conflict. It's something that we don't really have, right? A conflict with our parents. Our parents want to be our friends, which is also sometimes a cause of conflict, but okay, there it's a big thing. Look, the generation of my parents, our parents, in Asia is raised by 2 things. First of all, very traditional moral standards. Do like they did 100 years ago when it comes to love, life, looking at life, very traditional. At the same time, money, making money. The whole idea was 40 years ago, economy in Korea or China or Japan, whatever, was not that great. And then suddenly, woof, it went up. So all the people who were young started to work, earning money, could buy their own apartment, their own houses, and they were like, wow, this is life. Finally, we mean something. So they tell their children, they tell them, okay, you have to do 2 things to be happy. First, be very traditional, keep to the traditional values. Second, make a lot of money. Work, like Rihanna would say, and stay on track, that's it. But the young generation goes like, first of all, traditional values, really, We have internet. Even in China, when they don't have internet, they do have internet, They can find ways to see everything. So they say like, no, we need equal rights. They are way more, actually the young generation in China, for example, is way more pro-gay than ever before. They're like, we need more equal rights, we need more liberal ideas. Second of all, money, really, money is the answer. The economy is not going that well anymore, like in Japan, in Korea, stable, but not that well. In China, it goes less and less and less progressive. They'll say, the future is not money and working. The future should be something different, but we don't know what yet. But their parents tell them, no, you have to do it the way we say it, or shame, right? So there's this big conflict, the generational conflict. You can see that in everything. There's a young generation actually standing up in China, Korea, Japan, trying to fight for their rights. But I'm going to give you one example, just to understand how crazy it sometimes gets. There's a big conflict now between the free market and the freedom of the people. Because the free market or the freedom of the market is more important than the freedom of the people. You can see it everywhere in the world, but there you can see it even more. I'm going to give you one example in Korea. In 2016, sanitary pads, maandverband, in 2016, the price of sanitary pads went up by 50%, like that. Why? Because, the companies can choose what price they ask, and if they get together, which is illegal, but who can prove it, they can say, apparently half of the population wants them, no, let's jack up the price. That's what they did. So in 2016, suddenly 50% higher. That meant that 150,000 women in South Korea could not afford sanitary pads, geen maandverband meer, or tampons and all those things. 150,000 young women could not afford it. They could not go to school because of shame, or they could not go to work because of shame. It was terrible. When I was there last year, it was still like that. There were protests, nobody cared. The politicians, men, said, it's the freedom of the market and it's protected. By the way, today in the newspaper, that we have the same problem in England. Did you read it? The same problem in England. 20% of the young women in England cannot afford sanitary pads or tampons anymore. It's too expensive. Why? Because it's 20% tax they do. Why? Because it's men who make the rules, right? It should be a right to have sanitary pads and tampons, especially for the women. For the men, weird. But for the women, it should be right to have that. What do? Did you know that condoms in England have 6% taxes and sanitary pads and tampons have 25% taxes? Why? Because men make the rules. Yeah? We are living in a world that is going backwards. In Korea, you see it in England, you see it actually in Germany, in Italy, the same thing happening, right? And for me, that hurts me so much. The idea that people should have the right to be people. If you're a woman, normally 99% of the women between 18 and 50, they have their period every month. They should be able to get the product as cheap as possible, as high quality as possible. It's a right, right? So what I really liked in Korea, I was hit with this story, like the free market is more important than the freedom of the women. I met two boys, they were young boys, your age, they were 20, 21 and 22 years old, and they were nerds, but in a good way, you know, so the guys who normally make robots and computer programming, and one had glasses, and he was constantly putting his glasses up like this, like very cliche, and what they did is they stopped their work as computer programmers, they got paid very well, to make their own sanitary pads, hun eigen maandverband. They said, we have to change things. They saw their sisters, that they could not afford it anymore, that they stayed home and they lost their jobs or they lost their school. So they said, what if we make our own sanitary pads? We are young, we are millennials, we can change things. So they made this. This is 29 days. They know that a period is normally 28 days, but 28 in Korean is a bad word. It's like asshole or something. So it's strange to call your brand asshole when it's not about the ass. But anyway, so they called it 29 days, right? And this is biodegradable and cheap, but high quality sanitary pads, maandverband. And the great thing is, this became very successful in Korea the last year because they talked about it. In Korea, there's a shame culture. People do not talk about their feelings or their shame or their hygiene, so nobody talks about it. So the big companies, you know, they have the big money, they win. Now these young boys went to the parties with their products and talked to each other. They had groups of women talking to each other. What is important for us? Why can we not buy our own products? Now they are the 5th company that sells these, especially about young people who are trying to find new ways. This is how you overcome the generational conflict. Not by fighting against your parents, but by trying to find new ways to do better. I wanted to show you this because this was one of the things that touched me the most. How can you fight? You can go on the streets or you can try to change it by doing it. Look, actually, people often go to Japan or Korea or China to say how different everything is, right? And maybe it was for a long time, and maybe some things are still, but the young generation is actually the same. That was what struck me the most. The millennial generation is the first globalized generation, especially like you guys, the highly educated. We speak English, the Dutch not that well, but it's okay, you know. We speak a sort of English, en dan talken te zo en tegen de mensen zo. Hey, we speak English, they speak English, you know. We understand each other, we know the internet, we see the same things, we have these things in common. You could say this generation looks alike, but that would be too easy. There's one big difference between Asian culture and European culture, and it's this.
In Chinese, it's 成家立业. So it's first you have a family, and then you develop your career.
My dad has been giving me everything I needed since I was a child, and I think now that I am old enough, I would like to give back to him and help him out and help my brother do whatever he wants to do. So I don't have to, but I would like to.
I mean, who else is gonna do it, you know? They're your parents, they're your family. They were the ones that said, okay, I'll get you this when you said, I wanted this. And then to just chuck them aside when you're already making your own money, it just feels wrong, yeah.
I think that when you have that kind of culture where your parents dote on you so much, it feels natural to want to give back, considering they've given you so much.
Last month, my grandparents asked me, they said that, okay, so what if someday we got cancer? Do you have the money to pay for the bill? Then I say, oh no, I don't even have a house and my salary is not that high. Then I start to worry. Then I have to make the plan. I have to like invest in housing. I have to get married or blah blah. I have to buy things I can do. I have to do investments. I have to invest also in myself. I want to be stronger. I have to be a capable person. That's also, I would say, an outcome of the one-child policy, because we are the only child in our family. So we have to care about. We have to take care of our parents, our grandparents, and maybe my girlfriend's parents. My girlfriend's grandparents, and also maybe in the future when I have 2 children, I have to take care of my children.
Okay, family is more important than your own career. Family is more important than you yourself, right? If I put it in a overview, it's like this, right? Can I get this schema? Yeah, like this. So family first, then the community, then the individual. This is Asia. right? Family is the most important thing. You do everything for your parents or your family. Then you make sure you bring no shame to the community. And then you think about your own wishes. We don't have that in Europe, right? I mean, we freed ourselves in the 17th century. The individual is the most important thing. And then the rest. You can put it like this. This is Europe, right? I am the center of my life. It's all about me. Then you have the community and then the family, or family and community. It depends where you live, right? It depends also about your family. But you are the most important thing. We evolved from this. We used to have this. We said, it doesn't work. We go now to this. Huh? They are lacking behind, you could say. You could. Actually, we are both fucked, right? In both systems, it doesn't work at all. Did you know that? What is the first, do you know that? The first cause of death under 40? Suicide, yeah. In the Western world it is. Belgium, where I'm from, Belgium, Korea, and Japan are in the top 5 of most suicidal countries for young people. Or for years, you know, we've all, top 5 for years. Both. So that's a Western country and Eastern countries. Holland never used to be in the top 20, never, until 2 years ago. Now, congratulations, you're also in the top 20 of most suicides amongst young people. Why? Yeah, congratulations. You're going to be next probably, but yeah. It's okay. You need the attention. It's okay. No, I'm going to tell you why. Here, the individual has a feeling, if I don't do well for my family, if I don't do well for the community, you know, I failed. The family asks me to do things. They expect me to do things. If I don't do them, I'm not a good person. I failed. Here it is that we miss the connection with community and family. We have to do it ourselves, right? We need the attention. We need to feel that we are seen by people. We need to feel that we do good. Because if we fail in this system, in our system, it's our own responsibility. They told our generation, you can be whoever you want to be. If you work hard, you can be the best you can be, right? So if we fail, it's our own problem. Because we got all the possibilities, you know. We got some money from parents, we got some support, we can do everything we want. So if we fail, it's our own problem. This is the problem. In both systems, you have a lot of young people that have the feeling, I fail. I don't do well. I'm not good enough. And they quit, which is terrible. They quit on life. They say, I stop because I'm a failure. I'm not good enough. Our generation has to find a third option. This doesn't work, but we have to find a new way how to feel that we are connected to each other. If we don't do that, we're going to lose so many young people. Chapter 2. Thinking by doing. And for chapter 2, I would like to introduce you to Lily.
When I first saw you, I knew nothing's like it used to be. Boy, you have got to be the finest thing in history. The way I feel inside is just so hard to understand.
I say thinking by doing. Look, what you often hear amongst young people, my friends as well, is like, what can we do? You know, you have this climate change, and you have war, and you have terrorists, and you have all these things, but what can I do? I also have that feeling, you know. I rather have just Netflix and chill, and that's it. But then you need a girlfriend, which I don't, so okay. But, you know, it's okay, different show. But the most important thing is that you can actually do things, small or big. And when I was traveling in Asia, I met so many young people who have like power. They say like, we do this, we do that. They don't have subsidies for things. They don't have startup budgets so that you can fail a little bit, or their parents say, do whatever you want. They have to succeed. So there's this pressure, but on the same time, there's this willing to change their society. And one of the people I met was Lily, who's an architect. She's 29 years old. She lives in Hong Kong, one of the most expensive cities in the world. And she's so full of energy. I liked it, you know. Sometimes I was like, okay, chill down. But she's so, look, one of the projects she did that got her famous was the pods, P-O-D-S. I don't know if you heard about it. It's this, the pods. Living space for one person. This is the front of the pod. And then you have the back. You know, it's like the same but with a different door. And it's made out of sewer pipe. So normally they put these pipes under the ground and all the shit of Hong Kong goes through it, but these are sewer pipes. And she makes them because it's so important to have a space, right? She says, look, the biggest problem in all Asian cities, and actually also in the major cities here, is two things. First, there's no more place, and second of all, it's way too expensive. Right? I mean, no more place. I don't know if you heard it, but now in Hong Kong, they're actually building skyscrapers under the ground. That's what they're doing. 25 floors under the ground. So you go to your apartment and you go minus 15, and there you have no window, nothing, but there you live. Or, I don't know if you heard that, they are building now cities in pyramids on the sea. So what they do is they make a big pyramid, and it's 100,000 people who live in that pyramid in different blocks on the sea. So you don't have problems with the weather, you just stay in your pyramid, everything is there, and there's like one tunnel to go back to the mainland. This is what they're building right now, to find new spaces. But the problem is, even living underground is way too expensive. Nobody can afford, I mean, not the common people can afford it. It's 16,000 euros per square meter. At this moment in Hong Kong, 16,000 euros per square meter. So this is ridiculous, you know. You pay for 10 square meters, 160,000 euros. This is ridiculous. So Lily said, I have to change this. We have to find things because people need spaces where they can breathe. A home is a space where you can breathe. Ademruimte. That is a home. You know, you can cook everywhere, you can sleep everywhere, but a space where you can just be and breathe. That is important. And not just for the people who can afford it, because that is what you see also in Amsterdam, where I live. More and more, the big cities are becoming available for less and less people, even though more and more people want to go to the cities. So what you get is, you say, welcome in our city, it's only if you can afford it, and all the rest, gone. And that's why Lily fights it. That's why she made those pots, because the pots are affordable, and you can stack them. Look, this, you can stack them, you see? You can put them everywhere, or like under, or here, between, or under the bridge, you know, that you say, I live under the bridge, but I'm very chic, you know? It also looks very cool. It's 20,000 euros, that's it, for one pot, you know? And I'm going to show you how it looks inside. Look, very clean, very chic, you know, this is for one person to live in, and everything in there, except for the laptop and the computer, is recycled from e-waste. You know e-waste? So all your laptops and computers, they make a new product of it called e-waste. It's a group from Taipei who does this. Look, this is only made out of old computers and laptops. Everything you see here, the chairs, it's all made, and it's in the pot. So when they don't need the pot anymore, you know, they put everything out, recycle it again, put the sewer pipe back in the ground, shit goes through, done. Circular doing, it's how Lily calls it. You have circular thinking, that is what all the conferences are about constantly in Europe. Circular doing means just do it, right? Do it. But she says, Lucas, that's not the main reason why I made the pots. The main reason is because our biggest problem we have as a young generation is loneliness. We are the most lonely generation ever, especially in Asia, because we are family-oriented society and we are not together with our families anymore. That's what you have now, for example, in China. All the young people going to the major cities, leaving their parents behind, alone in a big city. Or even if their parents live in the same city, they cannot afford to live together, so they have to live way apart from each other. They have to work to survive, so they don't see their family, so we are lonely. People are living alone, dying alone in apartments for 3 months before somebody finds them. And Lily said, that's why I'm doing this project. You know? Because with the pots, because you put them together, we never make one pot. We make always a pot field, a community of 100. Not more than 100. More than 100 is not a community, but together. And what we do is, actually, we make sure that we select the people who live together so that they are very diverse, not only you and your friends, but very diverse. And it's only 600 euros rent, that's it, which is very cheap. But, she says, we only need 400. So what we do is, you can get your money back 1/3 if you help in the community of the pot field. So, for example, if you do groceries for your neighbor, and your neighbor asks for it, because otherwise it's weird, you know, and you do groceries for your neighbor, then you get a reduction on your rent. If you don't want to help, no problem, we give the money to the community anyway, right? So you connect people. And I was like, whoa, Lily, that's cool. You know, I've been to one of those pot fields, I've been there, and the atmosphere is so cool. People know each other. People in China and Japan saying hi to each other. I mean, in Amsterdam, it doesn't even happen. And I don't know my neighbors. I know one of them is very loud, but that's it. I don't know them. They knew each other. But at the same time, I was like, why would you select the people who live there? And she says, because otherwise it doesn't work. I say, yeah, but what happens with the other people who are not selected? Do you go like, you didn't make it through the first round, now go off, no breathing space for you. And then she said, Lucas, chill the fuck down, okay? It's step by step. If you don't begin somewhere, you can never end somewhere. If you don't start somewhere, you can never go somewhere. You have to start in order to go somewhere. She said, this is the start. We now have 4. We're going to make 25 of those spot fields in the next 4 years in 7 different countries. We're going to continue making new ways of community. But she said, Lucas, this is not the most important project I'm doing. I'm doing one that is way more important. And I said, okay, what is it? And she said, it's called, Where Shall We Die? I was like, what? She said, where shall we die? Because we don't only have enough space for the living, we also don't have enough space for the dead. And the moment you cannot bury your dead, then you have a crisis. And she took me to a cemetery in Kerkhof, outside of Hong Kong, and I want to show you this. This is outside of Hong Kong, a cemetery. It's a standard cemetery in Asia. And they have the tradition in Asia to be buried with your back to the mountain and your face towards the sea. And the idea is that your grave will be there forever. So not like with us, 25 years, 50 years, no, forever, because otherwise they're afraid that your soul flies away, that you don't exist anymore. So you have to keep your grave forever. So these are 26,000 people buried. There's no place for another grave. Already for 25 years, there's no place for more. And do you see the white building on the left, like the flat building? That is now full of urnen. Because there's no space anymore for the dead to be buried. So they decided to burn people and then have the urn forever. So this building was built, and after 4 years, all 90,000 places were filled, and now this building has to be there forever. You cannot change it anymore because you cannot remove the dead people. And if your urn is there, you have 2 possibilities. Either you get this shrine, this beautiful plate with your head on, or you get this beautiful shrine where you can put things in, and that's it. And what is beautiful to see is people come there to do rituals, not like once a year like we have, but almost every month, people come back to make sure that the soul doesn't fly away, that people are remembered. And they do rituals with food, fire, and flowers. The problem is, they have still not enough space. I mean, every urn that has to stay there forever, they have a lot of skyscrapers full of dead people, literally, urns. And now the waiting list, if you die in Hong Kong, for example, or in Shanghai, the waiting list before they actually bury your body or burn your body is on an average 3 months. So for 3 months, your body is somewhere in a cooling cell, waiting for a place for your ashes to be put. Sometimes even more, And Lily said, I have to do something against it. So she said, maybe we should burn and scatter the ashes, right? So she said that during dinner. Her grandmother was freaking out when she heard that. She went immediately to the husband of Lily saying, I understand if you want to divorce my grandchild. She wants me to be forgotten. She wants my soul to fly away. I don't want to see her again. And the grandma was freaking like this and panic attack. And then Lily said, chill down. Grandma, Jesus, put your clothes back on, because that happened and it's another thing, And she said, look, I don't want your soul to fly away or that you be forgotten, but we have to do something. We cannot, if you die now, who knows, maybe you don't have a place. If we don't bury our dead, we have a crisis. We have to do something. But I understand that we have to make sure that the soul stays. And then she said, Grandma, do you want to brainstorm with me about how we can do this, scatter the ashes and keep the soul? And then the grandmother says, what is brainstorm? And then Lily answered and explained. And then the grandmother said, okay, but I want to bring some friends, otherwise it's boring. So what she did and this happened, every Wednesday evening, you had Lily, her grandmother, and some friends drinking some rice wine and some sake and talking about how can we think of new ways to bury our people with scattering the ashes without losing the soul. Because talking about death in Asia is a taboo, talking especially openly. And the great thing is, they thought about it like designers. I don't know if there are creatives or designers in the room or product designers. They actually did product design on new ways of dealing with the death. I'll show you. Look, this is the prototypes they made, right? So they made new ways of scattering the ashes. For example, the swinger, that you swing the ash a little bit. Or this is the powdersauger, the pudersuiker. I didn't like that one. It was no good. This was cool, but windy, with the wind. It could be everything in your face. And this was the one that won. It's called the envelope. It's origami. It's biodegradable paper. And the great thing is, you actually put the ashes in the envelope. And then you can write things on the envelope if you want. Then you close it. You hold it so close to you when you're going to the place where you scatter the ashes. So it's still very intimate. And then you have to go very low and be very, you guide the ashes into eternity. That's the idea. This is the product they come up with. The second thing they did is opening the debate. Look, this is what they did. This is the grandmother of Lily. She's 87 years old. She looks younger, I know. This is the genes of Asia, And what they do is, every weekend, they go to a place like a mall in Hong Kong or other cities, and they ask, how can we die? What is better ways of dying? And they have an open discussion with people, stopping them and saying okay, how can we do this? We have a problem, with death, and nobody talks about it, so let's talk about it. And Lily's grandmother is very fierce about it. She always wants to make sure that people learn to think. So this guy was just shopping for a shirt or something, and then she stopped him, and she's now explaining how he has to learn how to use the envelope in case one of his beloved ones is going to die. And there you are, Saturday afternoon, practicing. Je mag de muziek iets luider doen, Maarten. Okay, but the big question was, where are they going to do the ashes? This is what I really like. This is an architect with her grandmother and normal people thinking, how can we change this, right? So they came up with a plan to actually have a nice place where you can scatter the ashes. This is what they did. These are gardens on top of the skyscrapers, because Hong Kong you don't have place, but on the skyscrapers you have. They made rooftop gardens, right? And then they have this beautiful shrine where you can do all the rituals. But what they also did is they scatter the ashes, they process it so that it can go into the ground and be used as fertilizer for the vegetables, the fruits, the corn they're making there. And then the old people from the neighborhood become the gardeners. They help with the garden. And everything they grow there, they give back to the people who are in need of food, the hungry people. And the great thing is, Lily's grandmother loves this project because she says, my soul is still there because of rituals, but I also give life back after death. I'm going to tell you why I love this project so much. We have the same problem in the Netherlands. We have the same problem in Belgium. We don't talk about it. We don't talk about the fact that we don't have space for our dead. Actually, that our rituals to deal with that are gone as well. We don't know if somebody dies, how to do it, how to deal with it, because we have no discussion. What I liked here is that some young creative people are actually rethinking how we can keep, the serenity of somebody dying, keep the person alive, although they're dead, but their memory alive, but renew it, Think of new ways of how to deal with this. I was in South Africa for a conference last week, and there are some young people from Europe who are thinking, can we make coffins that are bio-based? When you put someone in the ground, everything goes back to the earth, instead of now wood that stays for eeuwig, forever, So how can we do this? This is what I like about this generation. We are rethinking how we can deal with it. I have one more chapter to share with you, and then you can go back to your lives, especially you there. Last chapter is called The New Human. De nieuwe mens. The new human. I was talking about our generation with the young people that I had dinner with, and technology, and this is what they had to say about it. Maarten? Heb je die friends in alsjeblieft? Heb je die niet? Heb je die robots? Okay, good. So, what they said during the dinner was that technology is going to be so invasive in our lives, technology is going to change so much, and they were talking about robots the whole time. Actually, if you go to Asia, you see so many different robots. They have robots for everything, way more than we have. And sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. I'm going to show you two examples that it was like, why, right? One of them was that we were having a drink in a cafe, and we asked 2 sodas, and they gave us this. And I'm like, what? Why? They have a whole chain only with those robots serving people. It's ridiculous. I also met a fighting robot. I don't know if you know the fighting robots. It's a whole thing in Asia now that people create their own fighting robots. The most advanced one I saw was this one.
Round 1, fight.
And I go like, why? Why? I understand. I also saw some robots that are very useful. I'm going to show you in 2 seconds. But I'm like, look, robots are interesting as they're helping us. They're not interesting if they're taking away the human side of humans, if they make us less human. And then I was in Korea, and I met Seung-Young Lee. He's an artist. He created a robot to bring out the human side of humans, to make humans more human. I'm going to show it to you. This is Seung-Young Lee, and this is his robot.
부산 가려고 그러시지? 내가 끌어다 드릴게. 나오지. 할머니 나와요. 나와요.
And now we're going to introduce you to Jew.
내가 제일 잘 나가. 내가 제일 잘 나가. 내가 제일 잘 나가.
K-pop, who loves K-pop? Thank you so much. This was my small impression of K-pop music. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. This is who likes K-pop? Am I the only one? 4 others? Love it, love it, love it. Okay, they're all getting arrested now, all those K-pop people, but it's okay. Look, this is Ju. I met her in Shenzhen, but she's actually from Tokyo. Ju is 32 years old. She's a scientist and an AI specialist. What she can do with AI is crazy. But she uses her intelligence and her power for the old people, to take care of the elderly. This is a big problem we have in Asia, we have in Europe, we have in the West. Our old people just don't want to die. You know, they keep on living forever. They're becoming way too expensive. We don't know what to do with them. In Holland and in Belgium, we put them away in homes and just hope that they will vaporize, you know. But it just doesn't work anymore, right? It's a big problem, big problem. And you cannot shoot them, not yet, you know, so it's a whole thing. But what I like in Asia is that a lot of young people are saying, maybe we can make sure that we can deal with the old people in a great way by using new technology. This is what Ju did. And now she works in Shenzhen, but she used to work in Tokyo in an elderly home, gewoon een bejaardentehuis. And she said, you have to go there if you can. Of course we could. So I want to take you to the elderly home where they use computers to help the old people. Look, actually everything they do is measured. So if people are sleeping or walking or eating, everything is programmed. They can follow every old person. They immediately know when something goes bad. She also introduced a few tricks for the nurses. For example, yeah, you can do it. Okay, yeah. This, for example, is a lifting device. So it's great, you just put it on your back and you don't have to lift yourself anymore. Just hold the old woman or man or trans or whatever. You hold it and it lifts for you. Just whoops, I had it on, it's great, you know, you just don't have to do whoosh. It goes by itself, it's pneumatic. Thank you so much. Yes, and it really helps the nurses there as well. Then you also have a lot of entertainment. You probably know these. These are dogs, and they recognize people. And if they recognize you, they go barking. And if you touch them, they go wee, 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 crazy. And they use that for the old people to make sure that they are still, you know, seen for alive. It's very good also for lonely people here. And the most popular is the seal. I don't know if you know this one. She won a big award with it. Ju made the seal. And the great thing is, you touch it and you play with it, and it does no the whole time. It's amazing. Look. But the most advanced robot we saw was called Pepper. This is Pepper, and you see Pepper giving dance and voice lessons to the old people. If the old people here want to join, you can just join, eh? Yeah. Thank you, Pepper. Thank you. This is 25,000 euros for a Pepper, and then you have one. This is immensely popular now in Asia. You have a lot of elderly homes having those to make sure that the people are never lonely, to help them, to give them medicines, but you also have them in shops. We actually have Pepper here as well in Holland. You know, in Utrecht and in Rotterdam, they're working in a few shops. So you come in and Pepper says, welcome! And then, you know, you can ask him questions. Pepper can give you information. He can show you on his little screen what you can do. Super cool. Only problem is Pepper doesn't know everything. Actually, there's way more that he doesn't know than he knows because the AI is not that advanced. So when he doesn't know, he goes like, I don't know! And then he waits till you say it's okay, and then he can continue. Right? So this is true. It's AI, but not like next level. And the great thing is, I met Ju in Shenzhen because there she presented her new version of Pepper called Luna. Her daughter is also named Luna. She made a new robot, the same appearance, little changes, but the inside, the technology is next. I never saw this before. The level of technology was so high, and she presented it for 2,500 people at the conference called The New Human, the next step of human. And I interviewed her after her talk, the world premiere of Pepper, and this is how the talk went. I'm going to be her now, right? And she was like, oh my God, I'm so nervous. Oh, I did it. It went well. I did it. Oh my God, Lucas, could you understand me? Because you were sitting all in the back, yeah? Oh my God, I was so nervous. 2,500 people. I never spoke for so many people. Oh, and I had to do it in English, but did you understand everything I said? Yeah. Okay, just give me 2 seconds. Oh, I was so nervous because all the investors were sitting in the room, and I just wanted to make sure it went well, because all the troubles we had. But, at a certain point, Lucas, I was doing my performance, and then I forgot about all the people and the pressure because I saw my mother and my daughter standing next to me. My daughter is now 4 years old. My mother, 52 years old. And suddenly I was like, this is why I started this project. You have to understand, Lucas, the moment I got my daughter, the day I got my daughter, I was so happy, my first child, My daughter was born in the morning. In the afternoon, in the same hospital, my mother from a different doctor heard that she got Alzheimer's at 48 years old, which is ridiculously young. My mother is a very proud woman. She's a CEO of a company, 100 people working for her. And the last 2 years we were like, something has changed. Now we know. 48 years old, Alzheimer's. Her life crushed at the same day that I gave life. She was like, I'm going to lose myself. I'm going to disappear. And I was like, she will never forget, she will never remember the name of my daughter. That struck me the most. I suddenly had a vision like, what if my daughter is going to be 3 years old? We have a birthday party, cake and everything. And my mother goes to my daughter and says, and what is your name, little girl? And I was like, no, I don't want that to happen. The thing is with people who have Alzheimer's, and probably me also have friends or grandparents or people that have Alzheimer's, you have to invest a lot of time, invest a lot of energy to make sure they keep up with their memory. We don't have that time. So I said, maybe I can make an AI that is going to help my mother. Help my mother to remember my daughter as long as possible. That was my mission. I started the same night, alone. I took the technology of Pepper, started to upgrade it. I got a grant, so I got 2 people working for me, then 5 people working for me. Suddenly, I got investors, so I got 15 people working for me. And now, a few years later, boom, Luna is born. Officially, the highest social AI there is in the world. Luna can understand what people are saying, not only the words, but also what they mean with those words. I don't know many men who can do that. She uses voice recognition, she uses facial recognition, she uses algorithms to make sure she never makes a mistake again. She remembers everything. But the great thing is she can also help, she can give the pills to the people, but she can also make a diagnose. So she does the exercises, and if she sees somebody is regrading or progressing, then she can immediately send it to the doctors or make her own choices. Actually, Luna is like part doctor, part nurse, part activity manager, and part visitor, all in one. But the most important thing is we use Luna for people at home, because 87% of the old people live at home, right? Not in an elderly home, but at home. Most of your grandparents, if they're still alive, they live at home, right? They're lonely, they are alone. And I was like, okay, I'm going to put Luna with my mother for 1 year, 7 days a week. My mother loves it. Right? We just did the test, Luna for 1 year with my mother. My mother says, Luna is my memory. Every time I don't know when to take the pills, Luna comes, tells me when to take the pills. I open the door, I don't know who's at the door, Luna tells me who that person is. I don't know who I was as a little girl, Luna shows me. She can show me videos or photographs from all over the ages, from centuries back. She has everything stored in her. But also, if my mother would fall down, Luna can scan her to see if everything is okay, if she needs 911 or if we have to help her. Luna can test my mother on diseases. Luna can make conversation with my mother. How are you doing? Do you want to watch TV? Luna, if my mother is lonely, Luna can call me, and through video I can Skype with my mother. Unless my mother put the privacy button, because I don't want to know everything, just something, But Luna can do that. Luna makes sure my mother never has to forget or be forgotten anymore. Who would like a Luna for their grandparents? Who would like to have one? I wish I had. That they never should be alone, or for yourself, It's like an Alexa that you have now, but then more in a person and way better. Yeah. The problem is, Luna is now 175,000 euros. which is too much, I think, right? The company doesn't. That's the problem. The investors say, nah, we leave it at 175,000. We already have 2,000 orders, so who cares? I say, who can pay 175? The rich can pay that. Those who are filthy rich, and they can do that, you know? And the big problem is the company doesn't want to make it cheaper because they say, no, we want to use the technology for something else. I know what they want to use it for. Security, espionage, all that shit. I don't want it. So last meeting, I was like, and I never do this, I put my fist on the table. I said, no, Luna should be there for my mother, for everybody's mother, not just for the rich. Everybody should have the right to be remembered or not to forget. So they called me emotional unstable. One said, it's a woman. The other said, we should have never put a woman as head of the team. I said, I was already ahead before there was a team. So that's why for me it was so important, you know, to show to the investors how great Luna is, how amazing she is with people, that we should make it available for everyone, you know. After I talked with a Jew, we went to see the presentation of her husband, Jiankui. He's from Singapore, of course, lives in Shenzhen with his wife. Because actually the conference, The New Human, most of the conference was about DNA editing. And Jiankui is a DNA editor. You know what DNA editing is, right? You know, smart people. So we cut in DNA and we change DNA so we can change things. It's amazing. I was at that conference and my jaw fell like, this unbelievable. What they can already do is crazy. There was one talk and a guy said, if we have a baby now in the belly of the mother, we can already change the color of the eyes, change the color of the hair, and make sure that it has more muscles. I was like, why would you do that? So that it gets out of its mother by itself or something? It's so strange. This is true. Another guy said, the millennial generation, if they do one DNA test and they take the right vitamins and the right food, they can live easily up to 100 or 120 years old. All of us. By the right DNA, I was like, why would I live to 120 years old? What, I have to work till I'm 110 or something? I don't want to do that, you know? It's so crazy what can happen. But Jiankui had an amazing talk. He said, I'm fighting Alzheimer's. I want to make sure that within 15 years, the disease Alzheimer's has been forgotten. And I love that. My grandmother died of Alzheimer's. So I went to Jiankui and I said, oh man, thank you so much for fighting Alzheimer's. And he said, Lucas, this is just part of the dream. I said, what dream? He said, the Asian dream that we all have. We work not only for our own fame, but we work for a bigger story that a lot of Asians have. I said, okay, what is that story? He said, we want to make sure that the soul doesn't fly away. I said, what do you mean by it? He said, we want to make that the memory stays. In Asia, you don't think about 1 year or 20 years, think about 1,000 years. We are part of a legacy. Our dream would be that our memories that we have, which is our soul, that we can keep them and pass them on to every generation. And he says, I know a team that is working now on downloading the memory. Because memory is data. We can download the memory. What they want to do is download the memory so that we can have it. Like when I would die, you have my urn with my ashes and you have a USB stick with my memory on it. How cool would that be? And what my dream would be is that I can upload it within my daughter. Like Luna, she's 4 years old now. How cool would it be that all my memories go from my brain to her brain? And now I see you thinking, but she has to have a big brain. But that's not a problem. Within 20 years, we can expand the memory without external chips. Just with DNA editing, we can make sure that all our memories are 10 to 100 times the size we have now, within 20 years. And then my child will have my memory and the memories of other people, and she can pass that through to her children, and we will never have to die again. How great is this, Lucas? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know, what? And they were also standing very close to me while they were talking. So, you know, and apparently he ate something ricey. And then he said, Lucas, our generation, the people here sitting in this room, now, except for your teachers, but our generation, we are the generation that's going to make the new human, the next step of humanity. You had the Neanderthals, They were overclassed by the Homo sapiens. Now we, Homo sapiens sapiens, are going to go to the next level. The Homo continuum or Homo artificialis or something Latin, otherwise Europeans don't like it, you know? So the next step, we're going to do this. How cool is that, Lucas? Nee? Because I was like, nah, I like humans, you know? I mean, we don't function, but that's the great thing about humans. Nobody functions, you know? So we're all just a bunch of losers together trying to figure things out. What happens if some people, you know, are more advanced than other people? Like you have this cyborgs walking or people with huge memories and extra muscles, and then you have this normal person from Europe. And then I was like, and I was freaking out. And then Jew said, Lucas, you cannot stop it. Everything I told you is going to happen, whether we do it or we don't do it. That's the whole thing with technology. The DNA editing will happen, the AI will happen, it will all happen. The question is, how are we going to deal with it? What are we going to say? This is important, this not. We cannot do this. This is a limit or not. That is the most important thing for our generation. It's not discussing, do we want technology? It's how are we going to deal with it? And now we don't have conversations about it. It's not happening. We are talking about ourselves and terrorists and a little bit climate change, and that's it. But the bigger problem is how are we going to deal with everything that's going to happen. I'm going to give you a few examples. Mag ik een beetje meer licht? Just an example. And I know for Enschede, talking back is a whole thing, but still, you know. Can I ask you, the striped shirt? Yes? Do you have a boy or girlfriend? Yeah, boy or girlfriend? Boy? Just a question. If you're not there, is he allowed to masturbate or not? Yeah, okay. What if he doesn't masturbate, but he has this a girlfriend on his phone it's a cartoon character, but she talks to him with AI, so he can talk with her, how he loves her, and she loves him back, but it's all fictional. Is that okay or not? Weird, but okay? Okay, different folks, different strokes. So if he likes it, he can do it. Great, love you already. Okay, so what if instead of the fictional girlfriend, he has this sex doll? When you're not around, he just uses a sex doll. Is that okay? You use a vibrator, he uses a sex doll, it's the same. Weird, but he can do it. Okay, but the great thing is, what if the sex doll has your face? No? No, you can do that now. You can make already a sex doll with your face. But wait. What if you can upload your voice to the doll so that when he has sex with you, the doll can talk the way you do to him? That's too far? And what if it's not like a person, but more like a child version of it? Also not too much. Or like the 65-plus-year-old version. I mean, no. I'm saying this is Jew talking and not Lucas. I'm saying this because it's already possible. It's already possible that you make a sex doll that is completely human-like and that you can upload AI to the sex doll so the sex doll can talk the way, for example, your girlfriend talks. So actually, the weird thing is you could come home and your boy is having sex with you, but you're watching while he is having sex with you, but in a doll version. How cool would that be? You don't have to do the whole effort anymore, but you can... It's happening. It's possible. I see some guys going like, all right. The threesome will happen. Look, it's already now. It's already happening. So it's not like in the future we have to think. In Japan, there are people married with a fictional character. Married to a fictional AI figure. Okay, almost there, guys. I have a question for this row. The guy who has his hand like this and yes. Hi. Question, do you want to have children? Eh? Not really? Okay, very cool. Who else does not want to have children? You see, many people. This is a big problem in Asia. A lot of young people don't want to have children. The government is pushing them to make children. I met few girls who said, if the government wants children, make them their own. Okay, just work with me. If you would have children, right? Just say, condom broke and you have a child, right? You have to take care of it. So you have a child. And you knew that the child was going to have cancer because it's in the genes, but they can cut it out. Would you cut it out? So when it's still a baby, they know it's going to have cancer, but if we change the DNA, it's not going to have cancer. You would do it, of course, right. What? It's a logic way. Yeah, I'm just asking, right? And if you at the same time could change the color of the eyes, would you do it? Color of the hair? More muscles? Make it smarter? Look, if you don't do it, your child will be the only one sitting there amongst all the other very smart, muscle, blue-eyed children, and it will be like the weak because daddy didn't want to do it, you know? I'm going to tell you. This thing is going to happen within now and 20 years. We're going to have these questions. Because already they can do so much. In the next few years, they can do more, right? The problem is, it's so expensive that the only people who can do this are the people who are already at the top of the food chain. Look, guys, this is something I realized in Asia, that if we don't watch out, if we don't have this discussion, you will have a division between, now we have rich and poor. Rich means you have more, poor you have less. There will be new division, means you are more and you are less. Our generation will have a new conflict that we have to deal with, that we have to decide on when do we go too far. When it's not fair anymore that only few people will be cancer-free, only few people will be way more smarter, and the rest of us don't. These are things we have to deal with. This is what Ju said to me, right? And I was like, Jesus, man. You know, I'm just here. I do theater. I don't know, you know. And then she said, heb je die Maarten, die vogel? And then she said, the most important thing, Lucas, and this is what I'm giving back to you. That's what she said to me. I'm giving it back to you. Is we don't have to know the whole world. We don't have to change everything, right? A lot of things we cannot change. But there's a small thing, small area where we can make decisions. Us. We can. And she said, making decisions, choosing, and not being afraid to choose, and constantly discuss with each other and choose, that is what makes people people. Like, it's like flying for a bird. If a bird is sitting in a tree and just tweeting, right, it's not a bird, it's part of the tree. When a bird is flying around, then it's a bird. Of course, sometimes it stops to see where it goes, but the essence is flying. Flying for a bird is like choosing for people. Heb je de video?
Hello. Doesn't fly.
You can fly. Hup. Somehow in Hong Kong that went way easier. In Hong Kong it was like, boom.
Found a new friend?
He doesn't want to fly away. He's happy. Fly, you're free. Maybe that's the definition of freedom. That when you can fly away, you still think, you know what? Just gonna chill, relax. Woo. Thank you.